Is the presentation visible?
Yes, sir.
It will take. Okay. So if you recall, last day we were discussing about the evaluation of the bounds on the tail probabilities. We have considered Markov's inequality. We have also considered Chebyshev's inequality, and what remains for us to study is what is known as Chernow's bound. So that is also a bound on the tail probability. So say we have a random variable capital X whose moment generating function is mx. Now if you remember, in case of the Markov's inequality, we utilized only the expectation, the knowledge of the expectation of the random variable. In case of the Chebyshev's inequality, we utilized the knowledge of the expectation as well as the variance of a random variable. Here we are using a knowledge of the transform of the density function, the moment generating function. So according to this Chernow's proposition, if x is a random variable with a moment generating function mx, then the bound on the tail probability of x greater than equal to small x 0, it should be less than equal to the minimum value of e to the power minus s x0 mxs, and that is evaluated for s greater than equal to 0. That means non-negative s. So that is the proposition. What's the proof? So we start right from the beginning, from the first principles. Probability of x exceeding or being equal to x0, probability of x greater than equal to x0, that is given by this integral of the density function from x naught to plus infinity. Now instead of only fx, if we write fx u x minus x0, it's obvious that this product fx u x minus x0, even if you consider the range x equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, that product will be 0 for x less than x0. So we can write it in this way. Next, what do? We upper bound the unit step function. In this integrand, we upper bound the unit step function by the exponential function of this form, e to the power s x minus x0. So as you can see from this plot, for s greater than equal to 0, s greater than equal to 0, here this is the situation. Ux minus x naught, it's less than equal to that exponential function. That is valid for s greater than equal to 0. All right. So we can, what can we write? Probability of x greater than equal to x0, it's less than equal to this expression. I have just replaced ux minus x0 by its upper bound, which is e to the power s times x minus x0. So that yields the relation, that yields this inequality. All right. That probability of x greater than equal to x naught will be less than equal to this integral. So I have taken out that constant term e to the power minus sx0. What remains within bracket is minus infinity to plus infinity fx e to the power sx. So what is this one? This is the moment generating function of the random variable. So the probability of capital X being greater than equal to x naught is less than equal to e to the power minus s x0. Just 1 minute. All right. Therefore, Because this bound is valid for any s, as I pointed out, greater than equal to 0, we can tighten this bound by finding out the value of s that will minimize the right hand side. The value of s that will minimize the right hand side. So that will give the tightest bound on the probability of x greater than equal to x0. Therefore, the chain of bound is given by this expression. Minimum of s greater than equal to 0 e to the power minus s x0 mxs. So just observe that here we are using a two-sided Laplace transform or bilateral Laplace transform. All right. If we want to have the moment generating function when the random variable is not non-negative, when the random variable takes on uh, negative values also, then it will be a two-sided bilateral Laplace transform, mx minus s, that one. You know that mxs, it is the Laplace transform of fx with the sign of s reversed. So you may write down proof. MGF stands for moment generating function. So in simple language, what we have done here is that we have replaced u x minus x0 by its highest possible value or expression, whatever it may be. That is e to the power s x minus x0. Have you drawn it?
Yes, sir.
Have you completed writing?
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
done.
No, sir, sir. Is one, two lines left.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Done.
Now have a look at this problem. Before we move on to the different types of standard distributions for continuous random variable. From whatever we have studied, let us have a look at this problem. The percentage error involved while carrying out a certain measurement is a continuous random variable capital X with a cumulative distribution function as given here. All right. And based on this cumulative distribution function, you have been asked to find out the probability that the error lies in the range plus minus 1%. Probability that the error is greater than 0.5%, and also the statistical mean and standard deviation of the error. Statistical mean obviously means the expectation. So these are the things. First you write down the problem, then I'll proceed with the solution. Solution is very straightforward. While the first two queries A and B They can be answered straightway from this expression, capital Fx. For finding out the statistical mean, you require a knowledge of the density function. For finding out the standard deviation, you require a knowledge of the mean squared value and the statistical mean. For finding out the mean squared value, you require a knowledge of the density function. So density function should also be obtained here. Outside that range, x extending from -2 to +2, small fx is identically 0. So over that range, -2 to +2, it's the derivative of fx. That derivative will be 3 by 8 minus 3 by 32 x squared. Just the derivative of this one. And for x greater than equal to 2 is the derivative of 1, that means 0. So that is the density function. First question A. You are asked to find out the probability that the error lies in the range plus minus 1%. X is actually in percentage. So for x to be lie in that range plus minus 1% means we have to find out the probability that capital X will lie in this range -1 to +1. So it is the cumulative distribution function evaluated for x equal to 1 minus the cumulative distribution function evaluated for x equal to -1. So just by mere substitution, I have obtained f1 and f -1, and from that this is the required probability. Probability of the percentage error exceeding 0.5%. It means the probability of capital X being greater than equal to 0.5. F 0.5, what does it give? It is the probability of capital X less than equal to 0.5. So 1 minus that probability will give you probability of capital X greater than equal to 0.5. So that's what I have done here. I think this is correct. Please check later. It will come out as 0.32. Expectation of X. It is integration over integration of x fx, x into small fx, x into small fx, integrated over minus infinity to plus infinity. But outside this range, small fx is 0. So it's sufficient to integrate over -2 to +2. All right. So it consists of two parts. Just see that both of these functions of x itself is an odd function of x. Similarly, you have x cube here. That is also an odd function. So each of these integrals will be 0. This one will be 0. That one also will be 0. Therefore, effectively, the expectation of x, that will be 0. Next comes the expectation of x squared, because we have to find out the mean squared value, so that ultimately we obtain the standard deviation. So I have just started from the basic expression. Here there is an error, I think. It will be 3 by 8. This one will be x square, isn't it? This is x square, and that one will be x to the power 4. X square, and this one x to the power 4. So if you substitute x square here and make this correction, x square here and x to the power 4 there, then what will happen? I think that you will get a value of 0.8. So please make this correction here, x square here and x to the power 4 there. Mean square value, if it comes out as 0.8, what will be the variance? It will be the mean square value minus square of the mean value. We have already come across that expression, mean square value minus square of the mean value. That means in our case, because the expectation of x is 0, mean square value and variance, they will be same. So variance will be 0.8 and standard deviation will be the positive square root of 0.8. So that's the standard deviation. So please make it this one x square and that one x to the power 4. So sigma x square comes out as 0.8, and standard deviation is the positive square root of zero point 0.8. Here also there is a error. There is an error. Sigma x square will have this expression, and sigma x will simply be the positive square root of zero point 0.8. So this expression has crept in inadvertently. Sigma x square will have this expression 0.8, and sigma x is simply square root of 0.8, that means 0.894. Strike out this part. হয়েছে?
Yes, sir, done.
So now I am moving on to some common distributions for continuous random variables. So first one is called uniform probability density, is the simplest probability density function. Uniform probability density function. So this is the nature, this is the expression. So uniform density function means over a certain span of x, if the random variable is represented by x, over a certain span of x, fx, small fx is constant, and outside that span it's zero. So this type of distribution can be used where it is known that the outcome is constrained to lie in a known interval. That is the basic premise. It's not that wherever the outcome is constrained to lie in a known interval, the distribution, the density function will be uniform. That will not be the case always. But one of the possibilities is that it will be a uniform density function. So it lies, the random variable can take on non-zero values in the range A to B, and all outcomes are equally likely. So the probability density function in this case is this is the expression. The depiction of the density function as simple as that one. Because the random variable takes on non-zero, is allowed to take on non-zero values only over that range from x equal to a to x equal to b, and because the density function should have an area of 1, therefore the height is 1 by b minus a, so that the area comes out as 1. Cumulative distribution function, you can easily understand that that has to be integrated. So what will be the result of integration? Prior to x equal to 0, the integral will be 0. From x equal to 1, the integral will be a straight line. and it will reach a value of 1 at x equal to b, then it will continue to be at 1. So this is the cumulative distribution function, that is the expression. Slope, you can easily see that the slope is 1 by b minus a. So that is in agreement with this expression. And this one is the intercept on this fx axis, minus a divided by b minus a. All right, that is the nature of the cumulative distribution function. Often, what is of interest to us is the complement of the cumulative distribution function. It means 1 minus fx. 1 minus fx will simply have a value of 1 here, continue to be at 1 at x up to x equal to a, then it will decrease following a straight line. It will reach a value of 0 at x equal to b, and then it will continue to be at 0. So that is the nature of the complement of the cumulative distribution function. Anyway, you write down these things, then I'll continue with the other properties. Remember that this cumulative distribution function, uh, it will increase in this manner, and then it will remain constant at 1. So don't be astonished that even outside the range of values that x can take on, capital Fx, I am saying that it will continue to be at 1. Because cumulative distribution function, if you recall one of our uh, comments in the second class or right like that, cumulative distribution function can also exist even even for values that the random variable cannot take on. Say if a is just as an example, if a is 1 and b is 3, say, then the cumulative distribution function is also defined for x equal to 3.5, as just as an example. Because what does the cumulative distribution function tell you? If I consider capital F evaluated for 3.5, it gives the probability of capital X less than equal to 3.5. That's because the it has a value of 1. Obviously, X less than equal to 3.5, it's a certainty. You know that it will definitely be less than X equal to 3.5. So that's why it's kept at 1. All right. And that is the complement of the cumulative distribution function. Drawn it. Now, although I have written down the expression for obtaining the expectation, the basic expression, still for the for the uniform random variable, this was not necessary, because it's obvious that because it can take on values, because it is remaining constant over A to B, therefore the average of the left edge and right edge, that will give you the expectation. That is obvious. And it comes out like that, A plus B by 2. So for a uniform distribution, you need not go through this process. It's simply the left edge plus right edge divided by 2, the average of the two. Mean squared value, now you have to use this expression. X squared small fx integrated over x equal to A to B comes out as B cubed minus A cubed by 3 into B minus A. Here there is a typographical error. It will be variance of x, not tau. Variance of x, this is the expression. It's the mean square value minus square of the mean value. So this is variance of capital X. That is the expression comes out as B minus A whole squared by 12. Trying to evaluate the moment generating function here, expectation of e to the power sx. So by using the law of the unconscious statistician, I have obtained the expression as e to the power sb minus e to the power sa divided by s into b minus 1, b minus a. When s is 0, mxs, it comes out as 1, which is the area under the density function. So that is just a cross check. Just a repetition. Should have mx is equal to 1 for s equal to 0. Just a repetition of this one. Need not write it. Now, just so this is 1 for s equal to 0, and for s not equal to 0, this is the expression. Now come to, engineering applications of the uniform density function. Just a few of the engineering applications. You are aware of the quantization error in analog to digital converters, isn't it? You know that in analog to digital converter, because the number of bits is finite, therefore the digitized sample, it has to be rounded off to the nearest quantization level. So the quantized value and the actual value of the sample, they are different. So that difference between the two is called quantization error. All right. If the signal, the voltage signal that the analog to digital converter is digitizing, if that signal is a, what should I say, time varying signal, the quantization error also should vary with time. For a time varying signal, the quantization error also will vary with time. Now, if the number of bits of the ADC is low, say 4 bit, just as a hypothetical example, the error signal, it is found that the error signal is highly correlated with the unquantized signal. But with larger number of bits and for signals that are complicated, that means that vary with time in a complicated manner, and for larger number of bits of the ADC, the quantization error, the pattern of variation of the quantization error with time, that is random in nature. It doesn't follow any well-defined pattern. In the study of such quantization error, therefore, first let me point out, therefore this quantization error is also known as quantization uncertainty. So it's a random variable. So it will be having its probability density function, cumulative distribution function, etc. This quantization uncertainty is modeled as, the density function is modeled as a uniform density function. That has resulted from numerous experimental and theoretical simulation studies that have been taken up on this quantization uncertainty. So that is one application area of this uniform density function. So over the uniform probability density over a finite range, why is this range minus q by 2 to plus q by 2? What is q? Q is the quantization step, quantization level, quantization step rather. You know that the error in case of a round-up type ADC, it lies in the range, quantization error lies in the range plus minus half LSB. Minus half LSB means minus Q by 2. Plus half LSB means plus Q by 2. So this is the expanse. It extends from minus Q by 2 to plus Q by 2. And over that range, the density function should be constant. Therefore, the height of this density function, it has a value of 1 by Q, so that the area, it is 1. Depending on the notation that I am using, you may label this one as small f with argument E. Small f with argument E, not W. That is the convention that I use in some other course. All right. This is one of the application area of this uniform density. So I have obtained, you can easily understand that this is symmetrical about 0. Therefore, the expectation will be 0. Mean square value will be equal to the variance. So it will be E square into the density function evaluated over minus Q by 2 to plus Q by 2. It will come out as Q square by 12. So the standard deviation will be Q by root over 12. What will be the unit of standard deviation in case of ADC? Because the input is invariably some voltage signal, the unit will be that of volt. First, write down this part. How will you obtain the value of Q? What information do you require to obtain the value of Q in case of an analog to digital converter?
Number of bits.
Only number of bits, or something else is also required?
reference voltage.
Yes, full scale voltage, full scale range, full scale voltage information is required. If the ADC under consideration is a unipolar ADC with full scale range, say represented by its abbreviation FSR. So FSR volts is the full scale range, and I am considering unipolar round of type unipolar ADC. FSR is the full scale range voltage, and say the number of bits is B. So what will be Q? What will be Q? It is the full scale range or full scale voltage divided by 2 to the power B. All right. Now you remember.
Yes, sir.
If the ADC under consideration is a bipolar ADC, which will be the case in most of the occasions. If it is a bipolar ADC with a full scale range of plus minus VFS, and say the number of bits is capital B, total number of bits, then what will be the value of Q? It will be VFS divided by, I repeat, the full scale range is plus minus VFS. As for example, plus minus 10 volts. So plus minus VFS and the total number of bits is capital B. Then the quantization step will be VFS divided by 2 to the power B minus 1. VFS divided by 2 to the power the number of magnitude bits. So if it is a bipolar ADC, whatever may be the bipolar code that you use, one bit gets exhausted for representing the sign in whatever way you represent it. All right. So one bit is used up for sign. So the number of magnitude bits is B minus 1. So VFS divided by 2 to the power B minus 1, that is the value of quantization step Q. So try to remember these things. Use of this expression is not at all necessarily as I point not at all necessary as I pointed out earlier, because it's symmetric about E equal to 0, the statistical mean or statistical average or expectation, that will be 0. Here you have to use E squared times the density function over that range is 1 by Q. So it comes out as Q square by 12. Standard deviation is Q by root over 12. I've written it. Now, another case in which we come across uniform probability density function is in the case of a sinusoidal signal whose phase difference with a reference, phase difference theta with a reference voltage is random in nature. So theta is a random variable. So this type of situation, one of the cases where we come across such a situation is when for radio frequency communication, a sine wave has to be, a carrier wave has to be sent from the transmitter to the receiver. There, if the distance over which this sinusoid is transmitted is several times the wavelength of the electromagnetic wave, then what will happen? Theta will wander aimlessly. All right. So theta is a random variable. The transmitter has a knowledge of theta, but the receiver doesn't have any knowledge of theta. So theta is a random variable, and in such cases, because there is theoretically no reason why one value of theta will prevail over another, therefore, we have no other way but to model this situation, this density function of theta as a uniform density function, either over 0 to 2 pi or over minus pi to plus pi. Obviously, theta is being expressed in radian. Write down this part. So this is yet another situation. You'll come across that situation again. It will be, I mean, discussed in details in your communication course. If theta is considered to be uniformly distributed over 0 to 2 pi, the height of the density function will be 1 by 2 pi. If it is considered to be uniformly distributed over minus pi to plus pi, there also the height of the distribution should be 1 by 2 pi, because the area under the density function should be 1. Now, third application area is in the case of random number generators. So, computer-based random number generators, they can be used to generate. They actually generate random numbers based on different types of density functions. But the usual practice is first to generate the random number so that the random variable closely approximates a uniform density function. All right. So first the random number is generated to suit based on a uniform density function because that is a very easy density function to handle. So the random number is random variable is generated over that interval 0 to 1. Then a suitable transformation is imposed on the uniform random variable so that random variable with any other density function can be obtained. I have cited one example here. Say, regarding the transformation, suppose x is a random variable that has a uniform density function over 0 to 1, and we want to do transformation so as to obtain a random variable with exponential density function. So let's assume that natural logarithm of the reciprocal of x is represented by z. Then it is claimed that z will have an exponential nature, exponential random variable with lambda equal to 1. How do you understand that? Write down this part. So what I have written here is that the exponential random variable can also be generated in many other way. And this is one of the way in which the exponential random variable can be generated. I have written it. Fx is ux minus 1 because this is the range of x. X tends from 0 to 1, so the height of the density function will be 1. So its expression is ux minus 1. Z is natural logarithm of 1 by x. So x equal to 0 means z is infinite. X equal to 1 means z is 0. So as capital X increases, z will decrease. So 1 by x is e to the power z. All right, because z is natural logarithm of 1 by x. So 1 by x is e to the power z means that x is e to the power minus z. The cumulative distribution function fx is probability of capital X less than equal to small x. All right. So that is equal to x equal to e to the power minus z. Sorry, not this part. Fx is probability of capital X less than equal to small x. এটা এখানে চলে এসছে, বুঝেছো? So it is the probability of capital Z greater than equal to small z. 1 minus probability of capital Z less than equal to small z. So Fz will be probability of Z less than equal to small z. That means 1 minus, just 1 minute. What has happened here? Fx equal to probability of x less than equal to small x equal to probability of z greater than equal to small z equal to 1 minus probability of capital Z less than equal to small z. So Fz will be equal to probability of capital A Z less than equal to small z. All right. That means 1 minus the probability of এখানে z greater than equal to small z হবে. Z greater than equal to small z. All right. So that will be 1 minus e to the power minus z for z equal to 0 to infinity. So small fz will be e to the power minus z uz. So this one will be probability of capital Z greater than equal to small z. This portion should be eliminated. এটা হয়ে গেছে? Now this part, just write it down. I'll express it in a more simpler form next day. Yes. Probability of x less than equal to small x. What will that be equal to? It will be equal to x, isn't it? Because the density function is ux minus 1. So the cumulative distribution function, it will be linear in nature. So it will be equal to small x, isn't it? Over that span extending from 0 to 1, the cumulative distribution function of x, that is equal to small x. And small x we have shown it's e to the power minus z. বুঝতে পারছো নাকি বলো আমাকে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার বুঝতে পারছি।
এইখানে এটা যদি 0 to 1 হতো তাহলে this is 1. So cumulative distribution function would have increased linearly. So the equation would have been equal to x. So that is e to the power minus z. So that is all right. So this is the probability of capital Z less than equal, greater than equal to small z. So in this way it's coming. এখানে একটা lambda equal to 1 বলা ছিল না? হ্যাঁ। Actually the exponential distribution, its expression is of this form. Fz equal to lambda e to the power minus lambda z. So that lambda is coming out as 1 here. বলো হয়ে গেলে।
Yes, sir, done.
এটা greater than equal to হবে। It's a very simple problem. In radio communications, the phase difference between transmitter and the receiver, this language is poor. Phase difference between transmitter and receiver cannot be theta. The phase difference between the transmitted and received sine wave, all right, that is denoted by capital theta. And it's modeled as having a density function which is uniform over that range. So you have been asked to find out the probability of theta less than equal to 0 and probability of theta less than equal to pi by 2. So that is the density function. Probability of theta less than 0 is simply the area to the left of theta equal to 0, isn't it? So 1 by 2 pi into this area, this width pi, that means 0.5. Probability of theta less than equal to pi by 2. If you simply consider theta equal to pi by 2 here, so it is the area to the left of theta equal to pi by 2. So what is that area? It comes out as 0.75. 1 by 2 pi into 3 pi by 2. That is 0.75. So because it's uniform distribution, it is not really necessarily, not really necessary to integrate. Just you calculate the area you will obtain. You have been also asked to find out the standard deviation. Because the mean value is 0, the mean square value and the variance, they will be same. So variance is equal to mean square value given by this expression, theta square into f theta, over that span minus pi to plus pi, where the density function takes on a value of 1 and outside that interval the density function is identically 0. So over that interval density function is 1, it's theta square simply. Comes out as pi square by 3. We have been asked to find out the standard deviation. So the standard deviation will be pi by root over 3. So I have a couple of problems, other problems for this based on this uniform distribution. But that I'll consider next day. I will point out a few things which can be clearly understood, very easily understood. Anyway, I'll just point out. You have written it. For this case, if this is the nature, forget about minus pi and pi. Here, the nature of the uniform density function is such that the expectation is 0. In this case, what will happen? The odd order moments, all odd order moments, they will be 0, isn't it? Because it's an even function. What else? All odd ordered central moments will be 0. Do you agree? Because odd ordered central moments and odd order moments, they will be same. Central moments and moments of same order, they will be similar in nature. Is it clear? Come back to this case. I could have considered that this one, or I may consider this one. In this situation, say the figure with which we started, that one. Here the expectation of the uniformly distributed random variable, that is not 0. It's symmetrical about, uniform density function is always symmetrical about its mean value. All right. So in this case, what will happen? Regarding the odd ordered moments, odd ordered moments will not be 0, but all ordered central moments will be 0. Do you understand? Odd ordered central moments will be 0. Because that x minus mu x, say third central moment, x minus mu x whole cubed. X minus mu x, it is, what is that? X minus mu x whole cube, it is an odd function of x minus mu x. So third ordered central moment will be 0. Similar will be the case for all odd ordered central moments. But the odd ordered moments will not be 0. So be careful to realize that. So if you have completed, I'll stop today.
Yes, sir. I have one question actually.
Yes, sure.
Sir, last day we solved one question using Markov's inequality and Chebyshev inequality, and today we saw a Chernev bound. So, is it possible to find a better bound using this method, Chernev bound?
Well, yes, there are certain constraints. Chernov's bound will give you better result than the other two bounds. But the betterment of the result will depend on the value of x0. If x0 is deep into the tail, then Chernov's bound will give you a much better result than Chebyshev's bound. If x0 is not deep into the tail, if it is not in the tail, then in that case Chernov's bound may not give you a better result, much better result. It may not be possible. But obviously, when we are considering these bounds, Markov's inequality, Chebyshev's inequality, and the Chernov's bound, we are using it for evaluation of bounds on the tail probabilities, values that are deep into the tail. Do you understand? I will cite one example where you will find this observation.
Sir, is it because of this exponential term e to the power minus x?
Yes, that's the reason.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Rohit is there, or he has left. Rohit, can you hear me? না চলেই গেছে বোধহয়. Okay, so I'm logging out. Thank you.